The truth is, my friends, not many people want to be different because when you are different, people might think you're weird. It's so much easier to do what everyone else is doing, to look and sound like everyone else. Nobody wants to stand out. But that's exactly what Jesus wants us to do. God wants his children to be different, to look, talk, dress, think, walk, and act differently from the ways of the world. He wants us to be so weird and stand out so much that people notice us and are drawn to him. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." So young kings and queens, let your light shine. Why? It's simple. In 1 Peter 2:9, it says, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light." In this Christian race, you must make up your mind because victory begins in the mind. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they made up their minds not to bow down, and they didn't. Their bravery is a great example for all of us today. There are just some things that are wrong. No matter how you try to explain them or make them look good, they are still wrong. We need to make up our minds to stand up for what is right, no matter what happens, because there are some precious things worth standing up for. You know what I've noticed, friends? When you're a winner and have God's favor in your life, some people might be mad at you for no reason at all. They'll watch you closely, just waiting for you to mess up. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow down to the king's statue, some people who were just jealous of them went and told the king. Because of this, the king called them to come before him and gave them another chance to do things his way. The Bible tells us that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were accused of being enemies of the king. It's true that they didn't worship the king's statue, but they were still loyal to the king in other ways. However, when the king's commands went against God's commands, they chose to follow God. Friends, when you stand up for Jesus, you can expect the world to turn against you. They hated Jesus, and they will hate his followers too. But when they come against you, be strong and stand for Jesus. After all, when the time came, he stood for us. The least we can do is stand for him. God wants us to follow laws that are fair and just. But when the world's ways go against God's ways, we should choose to follow God every time. In the Christian race, there can be no compromise. King Nebuchadnezzar seemed like he was giving the boys a way out to save themselves. In Daniel 3:14-15, he said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the gold image I set up? When you hear the sound of the music, bow down and worship the image. But if you don't, you'll be thrown into a fiery furnace. And who is the God that can save you from my hands?" In that moment, the king was trying to scare them. He wanted them to feel afraid so they would bow down to his idol. He told them that when they heard the music, they had to bow down. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego weren't afraid. They trusted that God could save them. There's a quote by Henry David Thoreau that says, "If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music he hears, however far away." As children of God, we follow a different drummer. We follow God's beat, not the world's.